The September 11th terror attacks in the U.S. changed a lot of things, from the way we travel to the way our police forces work. It also posed a challenge to lawmakers. How do you secure your country against terrorism without infringing on the rights of some individuals? Well, as we approach the 8th anniversary of 9/11, reporter Naman Khan takes a look at whether or not Canada's security laws strike that balance.
What does the world do with somebody who's truly dangerous wherever they go? Is freedom really an option?
That question was posed by Canada's Supreme Court Chief Justice during a hearing in 2006. The answer, it seems, is so complex, lawyers, intelligence agents, and government officials are still trying to grapple with it 8 years after the war hysteria that followed the 9/11 attacks. Caught in the middle are Canadians like Mona El-Fouli. Her husband, Mohamed Mahjoub, was released on bail after 7 years in jail without charge because the government alleges he is a terrorist threat. But Mahjoub has decided to voluntarily return to jail, says El-Fouli, because the strict conditions of his release and the alleged harassment by security officials is making their children's lives hell.
The children felt very stressed, very oppressed. They can't enjoy themselves. They're prohibited from going, like people coming in to our house. Their friends are scared to come. Their families are scared to send them because of the conditions. They feel very much isolated.
Mahjoub has passed 100 days of his hunger strike at a Kingston jail and reported to be ailing physically and mentally. El-Fouli says if the government has evidence against him, it should charge and try him. But much of the evidence is blacked out due to what government lawyers say are national security concerns. One of the major shifts post-9/11 is the way security agencies collect and share information. Not only has the role and motives of well-paid informants been called into question during several terror trials, but also the lack of disclosure of the evidence that's been used to charge or detain a person who's suspected of being a terror threat. That was partly the basis for a successful challenge to Canada's security certificates in 2006, as the Supreme Court deemed them unconstitutional. The government then came up with special court-appointed lawyers who could see and challenge Crown evidence in national security trials. Anil Kapoor is one such special advocate.
Clearly, more evidence is being made available to the targets of security certificates than previously. So from that perspective, I think it is working. I mean, this is material that they would not otherwise know.
However, in criminal trials where terrorism charges are being contested, disclosure of evidence remains a sticking point for defense lawyers. Anser Farooq represented one of the so-called Toronto 18 accused who got a stay of terror charges and secured his release.
And they've enacted legislation, the context in which it came out, which is very crude as far as I'm concerned, because it throws a net far too broad, captures everybody, and then you as a defense counsel are stuck facing objections of national security when you try and find out what it is, and on the basis of what it is that you're holding somebody.
So, do Canada's anti-terror laws strike the balance between human rights and national security? Well, that depends on how serious a terror threat you think Canada faces.
The responsibility of any government is to provide for the security of its own citizens. And that from there, then you always work towards looking at the area of human rights, making sure that human rights are protected.
You wait 17 months just to get out. You wait 3 years before you get a chance to be bailed out. You wait 5 years to go to trial. You wait years upon years before you can actually see what the allegations against you are. So how does the state then go ahead and say we are accounting for human rights? The damage is done.
The benefit of this legislation is the judge has a tremendous amount of discretion. So you have an opportunity to adjust the balance on a case-by-case basis as is needed. So one of the chief benefits of this legislation is flexibility. Of course, with flexibility comes a lack of clarity at times, but on a case-by-case basis, hopefully counsel can persuade judges to do the right thing.
A provision requires the anti-terror laws to be reviewed every 5 years, and the next such review is expected in 2011. 2 years, Mona El-Fouli fears may be too long to save her family. For Omni News, I'm Naman Khan.
Well, we'd like to know your opinion on Canada's anti-terror laws. Our phone lines are now open, and the question is, do Canada's anti-terror laws strike a balance between human rights and national security. If your answer is yes, press 1. If your answer is no, press 2. Our phone number is 416-260-4005. Meanwhile, new amateur